Welcome to our podcast series, Raising Saints and Forming Scholars, where we delve into your questions about the world of classical education. We were made for truth, beauty, and goodness. Let's talk about it. In this episode, we listen to our parish visitor speaking about her journey from supporting Planned Parenthood to now fighting abortion around the world. You will be riveted by her story and her conversion. Thank you for listening. This episode is sponsored by the Catholic Foundation. Okay, welcome to our Raising Saints and Forming Scholars podcast. I'm Principal Martinez here at Holy Child Catholic School, and boy do we have an exciting guest for you who is visiting Holy Child Parish. Her name is Mayra, but I'm going to let her introduce herself properly.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. My name is Mayra Rodriguez de Villeda. I know the Hispanics, we have to throw in that romantic way of saying we're married.
Love it.
Right? I'm a Planned Parenthood whistleblower. That's what most people know about me. And
I'm
get
just
to
gonna,
that.
Yes, I'm going to stop you there because I think our community will be so excited that we have Planned Parenthood whistleblower here on our premises. Can you tell me how you came to this point in your journey?
Well, I don't know how long we have. It's quite a Mexican novella.
I love
soap
that.
opera, right? But so it all started. I was born and raised in Mexico City, right? Catholic and devoted. And I moved to the United States when I was 17, 18 years of age. Okay. I always had passion for the medical field, but specifically for women's healthcare.
Okay.
I had a medical lab tech diploma in Mexico. Planned Parenthood in Phoenix hired me with that diploma. And I was doing some community college courses, and I was told they help women.
Okay.
But I was told they needed bilingual people to help my community. So jackpot, right? I'm get to help women. They give me a job. I'm going to use my title. I'm going to use my passion for healthcare, and I get to help my people, right? When you grow up in another country and you move here, it doesn't matter what Latin American country you're from. They're all your people, right? All immigrants. We all kind of like see it as a brotherhood. And knowing that I will be able to help my community, it was something that made me passionate about, right? And made me look at them as, wow, they're so nice and good, right? Because they want to help my people.
Yes.
Right? Who else wants to do that?
And I'm sure the word help took on a meaning I guess you weren't quite ready for, or you saw the fuller meaning about that?
Yeah, I got to see the what help really meant, right? But it wasn't at the beginning. I mean, my journey, we are talking about 17 years of a journey with them. So I dedicated my 17 years of my life to this reproductive justice world. And I fell for it, like many people do.
Interesting. So 17 years you're working in reproductive justice, as they call it. Did you have one moment that changed everything, or was it a gradual process?
It was a very drastic wake-up call, if you may want to call it. So I work in centers that had nothing to do with abortion for many years, right? You can say that little by little they groom you. And that's the truth.
I believe it.
It's the right word to use now, right? Obviously, back then, it's like they educated me, right?
Yes.
They opened my eyes to their truth.
Yes.
But today I say they grown me. What would I say that? Because I remember at the beginning when I was trained to go into the community, into the Latino community, I was trained to be like, Mayra, basically, you need to liberate those women from the kitchen. Like, those women won't even get pap smears done because they're so dedicated to their families. They think they're just here to have babies. You need to go and help them know that they can actually have birth control and hide it from their husbands, right? Knowing that the Latino community was not like that, right? And we're talking about still a community that back then was still very far away from abortion, like myself, right?
So give us an idea, what decade are we talking about?
So we're talking at the early 2000s.
Early
right?
2000s.
I started working at Planned Parenthood in the year 2000.
Okay.
So we're talking about 2000, 2005. Abortion wasn't even legal in Mexico or most part of Latin America.
Okay.
I mean, the abortion industry has worked its way gigantically in Latin America in the last 10 years, right? Since 2007, when they legalized Mexico City, then went to Argentina, and then from then on have taken over. So we're talking about people that coming from those countries don't see abortion or birth control or hiding it from their husband as something positive, because it should not be, right? But here it was, go and tell them they can hide it. They can come and do their visit. And if they don't have money to pay for it, we will help them. So they don't even have to explain that, right? Then they can have their abortions without their husbands knowing, right? They don't have to have that baby. They can hide it from them too, right? Because they don't have to. Just because their husband won't let them take birth control or won't do anything about it doesn't mean they have to have their baby. You know, those women need to be helped with, right? Even though I didn't believe abortion was for me, it came to a point that I was very comfortable selling the idea of abortion. I was actually very comfortable selling abortions. That's the reality today.
Yes.
You know, when people say, like, you were helping women getting abortion, no, I was selling them abortions.
Yes.
Right? And in many years, I dedicated so passionately about this and strongly. Today, I can tell you that when people said, oh, you know, I'm a pro-life, but my family is pro-choice, and they blame the culture, they blame media, they blame Hollywood, I don't get to do that. I made my family pro-choice. I worked there, and then I brought them the idea that abortion was okay, right? So it's a hard truth when then you face the reality of what abortion means. And how did I get there? Well, after many years of dedicating, promoting, and when I tell you that is that in 2016, I had the Employee of the Year award.
Wow.
I even went along with Cecile Richards, the former Planned Parenthood CEO nationally, to Congress to advocate so Trump wouldn't defund them in 2017.
Wow. And this is not that long ago, 2016.
2016, 2017. So I strongly, like, they use my years of experience at the non-abortion facility, at the Title X centers, the funding that we had, to go and advocate for that funding for them. At that moment, after getting the award, with that award came a promotion that at this point I'm already the director of 2 centers, and a promotion that I was not expecting, to be honest. We want you to be the director of the biggest abortion facility in Arizona, on top of my other 2 centers. Honestly, I'm going to tell you, I said, no, thank you. I don't want that. It's like, I've been 16 years working here.
Yes.
You selling the idea and have nothing to do with that side, and I'm comfortable like that, right? And it was like, well, Trump will defund us. We will close down clinics, and I cannot guarantee you'll have a job. So, you know, I took the job. I thought I had no other option but to take the job, and I took the job. And I started working at as the abortion director. And I can tell you, very, very quickly, I only lasted 10 months as the director of the abortion facility. I mean, I lasted 16 years doing something else, and only 10 months as an abortion director.
And this is because you're much closer to what's actually happening?
Yes. So when you're working there and you're at a certain level, you get to see things, right? But when you are working at a different level, now you get to see the money handling, right? One thing that shocked me was I used to argue with people on the street. I used to argue with people on social media when they were like, well, Planned Parenthood babies, we do more than abortions. Abortions, 3%. What I do in my other centers, 97% of our services. When I take over the abortion facility, remember I just told you I was managing 2 other centers, non-abortions, and then an abortion. And then I start seeing the numbers. And it was like the non-abortion facilities, 12, 13 patients a day, no more than $1,000 a day, right? Because it's all funded by the government. The abortion facilities, 45 patients a day, 20 grand a day at least. That's not 3%. I'm not good at math, but that's not 3%.
Right.
This is more than 3%. Like this is the whole business.
Yes.
During my time at the non-abortion facilities, I just told you, I will go and tell the Hispanic community, even if you don't have money, come. We will help you. At the abortion facility, you don't have money? Sorry, you got to come back with your $560 to pay for your abortion. And I actually got in trouble for allowing women to not pay their full amount. And I was like, I thought that's what we were here for, to help them. But now it wasn't about that. Abortion was about business.
Yes.
It was a business transaction. Women were numbers.
Yes.
One thing I joke about, but it's not actually a joke because I call it a PTSD, trauma.
Yes.
It's that I have a hard time remembering names, like people's names, right? And when people ask me why, and I always say it's PTSD, and they say, "What do you mean?" I say, "Well, for some reason, they train you not to learn the patient's name. They see them as a number, right? As a 16-weeker, as a 14-weeker of the day."
Wow, and that's so reminiscent of what the Nazis did with their victims. So that movement is just so real.
And their excuse is, and you will find familiar with this because you have seen them on their social media posts. It's always about love and making it seem pretty for women. Their excuse was, in order to prevent you making a mistake or calling someone by name and breaking HIPAA regulations,
Yes,
right? The Privacy
right.
Act for patients. Let's just not think about their names and just think about their numbers and what they're here for.
They're very smart about teaching you how to dehumanize
Yes.
everyone involved so that you don't have to deal with what's really happening, which would explain why you mentioned PTSD.
Yes, you're right. So I was very good at remembering. If I saw a woman at the grocery store, I was very good at remembering, oh, I saw her. She was about 16 weeks pregnant, but not her name,
Right.
Like I didn't keep her name in my
Yes.
head, right? And I didn't see the baby either, which is another wake-up call.
Yes.
I like to tell people, don't get me wrong. For many years, I worked there 17 years. I knew what they did to babies. I knew that they went into Ziploc bags, into red bags, that they get cremated with medical waste. I knew that. Right, I heard that, right? But then being part of it is different.
Yes.
Now you're there. You're part of putting the puzzle together of the baby parts. Now you're part of making sure those baby parts go into a Ziploc and a red bag. Now I'm the one signing to send those babies for cremation along with medical waste, literally, with medical waste from hospitals. That's different. It is very easy to promote something that you don't even see behind it. But the biggest wake-up call is, do you remember I just told you I used to sell the idea of abortion? Well, I sold the idea of a safe abortion. I was very quick to tell women when I was offering them their options, well, you could just have the abortion and it's very safe, right? And if they brought up a question, it would be like, well, hardly anything happens. I mean, how long have we been doing it? Planned Parenthood is the best at it, right? You're safe, right? It's not like you're going to a doctor down the street or in a back alley, right? Because they're so good at saying back alley abortions. But what I saw there as a director, which is why I blew the whistle on them, was the damage on women daily. And when I say daily, it's a woman left the building perforated daily. By that abortionist, which on top of it happened to be the medical director. What does that mean? He oversees all the abortionists. He gets to report all the complications. He gets to do all the supervising. So it was a wake-up call for me to see what women were going through, besides dehumanizing them, the way they were just treated like merchandise,
Yes.
right? The babies were just treated like garbage, literally. I heard the abortionists, when we argue about missing a baby head of a 14-week baby, go find it in the trash. Why would you bother me for trash?
Wow.
So seeing the abortion and abortion workers, we like to put it this way, smelling what abortion really looks like and seeing the damage of abortion in those women gives you a different perspective of abortion. So, long story short, I blew the whistle on them in the year 2017, short 10 months after becoming the director of the abortion facility. And, instead of giving me another Employee of the Year award for blowing the whistle,
Yeah.
I was let go.
Of course.
Because I was really vocal against the abortionist. I was very vocal about him. I was very vocal about his mistakes and the complications that went unreported, the falsifying of patient charts, the minors that were impregnated by adults, the statutory rapes that were not reported to the police, all those things that I was told they were supposed to be happening, and they're not happening. And there was where's the curtain no matter what, right? I'm telling you all this is happening, and instead of you doing something about the abortionist, it's like, let's do something about whoever brought the red alert about the abortionist.
Yes.
And that's what the abortion industry is all about. So I left in October of 2017, and we started the only wrongful termination lawsuit against Planned Parenthood in that same year, which we gratefully, thanks to God, we won in 2019 by unanimous decision of the jury under the Whistleblower Protection Act.
Wow.
And that's what got me to start here. So once it was like, okay, so now I'm done. Now what? You know, so I won. So what has changed? As you can see, nothing, right? Because they're still very powerful.
Yes. So this is your full-time ministry now, I would imagine, or?
Oh, yes.
This is what you're doing, heart and soul, 24/7.
What I do, heart and soul, 24/7, is advocate against Planned Parenthood. What got me started was, believe it or not, when I blew the whistle, I was still very naive. And I'm like, it must just be Planned Parenthood Arizona.
Right.
Then I leave the industry, and I go through this lawsuit, and then I get to meet other former abortion workers through a ministry that I'm part of, which is called And Then There Were None. If people are familiar with the movie Unplanned, Abby Johnson. So she has a ministry for abortion workers, and I work with her on that ministry. And I start talking to them, and then you hear their stories very similar to mine, and you're like, wait. And then I meet former abortion workers from Spain, and their stories are similar. Then I meet former abortion workers from Latin America, and you're like, okay, this is the industry, right? And then I just thought it was with Planned Parenthood for 16 years. I didn't know that they had more affiliates than McDonald's in the world. I didn't know they were called Pro Familia in Colombia. I didn't know they were called FUSA in Argentina, MexFam in Mexico. And I certainly didn't know that the United States donates the most money for International Planned Parenthood Federation to go kill babies in other countries. I didn't know that, and I work for them. I was like, okay, so if I didn't know that, most people don't know that. Right? So part of it, I decided to take my testimony to travel the world. So I have gone to other countries, you know, and talk about my story.
Yes.
I collaborate with many ministries, some in Spain, some in Mexico, some in Latin America, Argentina. I work as a volunteer for Pro-Love Ministries, another ministry of Abby Johnson, helping women in crisis. You know, I'm also the state director for Moms for America, because then I thought, well, moms need to be educated, especially the ones that I educated wrong, right? You know, the Latino.
How did you get the courage in 2017 to do this lawsuit? That must have taken a tremendous amount of courage.
Yeah. I always say it was the people on the sidewalk, right? The people praying for me.
Really?
Yes.
This is very important to think about.
It is. Do you know why? Because for many years I didn't understand them. I saw them on the sidewalk when I was in non-abortion facilities, and I was like, what are they doing? Do they even know I don't do abortions? Like, why are they wasting the time? You know, and I remember used to arguing with some of them, and they were like, well, you still refer women for abortion, so we will be here. And I was like, okay, fine. But once I got to the abortion facility, and I see how a woman will change their mind. And when I say I see how they change their mind, is because sometimes you don't see them coming in and be like, oh, let me go see what the lady on sidewalk's doing, and change their mind. But we know that they didn't show up for their appointment, so they change their mind, right?
Yes.
And we have seen women that as they were walking through, the lady on the sidewalk talks to them and goes back. Every day, one of them will say, I'm praying for you. And at the beginning, I was like, we'll go pray for someone else. I don't need you, right? But eventually, my heart changed.
Interesting.
And at the end of my time there, I was grateful for their prayers. You know, it was them who were there for me when I left this industry. No one. Well, I mean, there were a few that supported me inside Planned Parenthood, or former abortion workers or former Planned Parenthood workers. But for the most part, who was there for me to lend a hand to me were the people on the sidewalk.
So, which was kind of leads into my question, where I was wondering what you thought about our current strategies as a church, whether it's in the nation, the state. I don't know what you know about our archdiocese, but do you think our strategies are working?
Well, to me, anyone in the state of New Mexico fighting for life is a hero.
I know, because it's very bad
I
here.
mean, here you're not only facing Planned Parenthood, you're not only facing one of the biggest abortionists, now you're facing the satanic temple funding your state abortions, opening huge and mega clinics
and I
here.
speak about this with a lot of people, and clearly we've cursed ourselves, and there's got to be some kind of atonement or reparation for things to change in this state.
You know, what has surprised me is most people, when they refer of an evil state when it comes to abortion, talk about California, talk about New York. And I always tell them, New Mexico has been doing it long before you even notice it in California.
This is really heartbreaking.
New Mexico has been doing third trimester abortions for a long time. New Mexico has been very open. I mean, what was it, your governor siding with the satanic temple and these huge billboards all over Las Cruces, making it an abortion destination.
Yes.
It was heartbreaking coming down on the I-10 from Texas, and as you're leaving Texas, the last two billboards are New Mexico is your abortion destination center. I welcome anyone to log into the satanic temple people website when you want to book in your abortion, and they do it like a touristic thing. Like they will book your hotel, your airfare, your bus ticket. And what we have heard of the women that come to New Mexico is that once they get here, if they change their mind, they're like, well, now you're on your own. Now, if you change your mind, then you better find your way home, because we're not going to take you back because you lost your money. We got you here and you're on your way. So what can we do? So the strategy from church should be to be more open to talk about. I think I would like to see, this is my dream, right? That every time a woman walks into a bathroom in their church, they see something about if you're pregnant and need help, we're here.
I see.
Like a poster,
It's
right?
very practical, very powerful.
Right, because maybe they don't feel comfortable sharing. I was just sharing that I was Catholic. I was born and raised Catholic, but I stopped going to church because I didn't want to go to a church where I knew that the people there will pray outside of my facility.
Yeah.
Back then I was calling it an excuse because, they will harass me. But in reality I was feeling ashamed that they will see me going into the center, right? But if there was a sign in the bathroom, some people may feel ashamed of saying, hey, I'm thinking about terminating my pregnancy. But if there's a sign for a place that they will feel safe, maybe they don't want to talk to the people at church. Maybe they don't want to confide in someone in their church, but maybe they see a sign they will call, right?
Mm-hmm.
That could be a good start, right? That we talk more about it in church. Another thing I can tell you is that sometimes as Catholics, in the past, I'm saying in the past, we're doing such a great job now, being more like, let's make our kids feel like they can come up to us more, right? But remember, in the past, it was like, abortion is bad, and you will be a sinner, right? And a lot of those kids get afraid to discuss to their parents that they're having these thoughts.
We're not emphasizing the mercy.
Exactly, right? The mercy, that I'm still here for you.
The mercy
I'm
is
here
important.
for you. Like I am your mom, and no matter what the other side says, I am the one who will care for you the most, right?
Yes.
Because I want the best for you, right?
Our pastor here is so devoted to the rosary, and I always think of the children of Fatima, and they said the final battle will be about the family.
Yes.
So I know Our Lady plays such a key role.
Yes.
I think that you coming here is going to really... It inspires me, and I'm sure many others, to really keep asking Our Lady, like, we have to get out of this satanic grip. Yes. It's just so, we have to do it for the sake of the young people.
And the only way through that will be through prayer.
I know.
Prayer, fasting, and the rosary. That's our best weapon as Catholics, as believers. And she was the best example for all of us, right? I think that when people discuss abortion, if you remember Mary, and look at her time when she was pregnant, that should be a wake-up call to most.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, the saddest part is to see how many Catholics like myself fall into, well, I wouldn't have an abortion, but not caring if someone else does.
Oh, yeah,
right?
and I don't want to judge you or tell you what to do. We fall into that too easily. My last question is, do you have any advice for a principal who runs an elementary school on the best way to speak to children about this?
I will say it's never too early and never too late.
It's a great...
As a person that was sent from Planned Parenthood to speak to communities and young children, and when I say young children, I think the youngest I talked to was 8th, 7th grade middle schoolers. But now you know them; they're getting worse in schools.
Yes.
We know that. So I think that we need to be the ones to deliver the message, because we will deliver the right message.
Yes.
The other side will deliver the message that will make their business grow. Right? Which is what I was told to do.
Yes.
Right? I was told to tell those kids that they can come see me at my center. They don't need their parental consent. And obviously, what's the first thing they see when they come? You can have an abortion without your parents' permission. You can have birth control without your parents' permission. Right? So be the first one. It's never too early, never too late. Obviously, age-related messages, right? We don't want to be like the other side.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
So age-related messages. But I think that building the pro-life view from a very young age,
Yes.
and the importance of human life, the dignity of human life, right? It's not only that, because God is the creator and he's the one who decides who lives and dies, not an abortionist, right? It's about the dignity of human life in all the stages, right? Why someone should have the right to be born, but a poor person shouldn't,
Very
right?
well
Or
said.
a rape baby shouldn't be born.
Yes, very
right?
well said.
So that dignity, it's getting back to show them the dignity of human life in all stages.
It's never, we can never be reminded about that too much. So thank you so much for being so candid and sharing your testimony with us. It's just I think it's a sign of hope for us, because we in this diocese in this state we do get down, I have to say. So it's a sign of hope to meet somebody like you.
Thank you. And like I said, to me, you're all my heroes. If you're in this state and you're pro-life, you're my heroes.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.